the global news on Atlantic Television Network. First, the headlines. 2 die in Rivers cholera outbreak. CJ transfers Amehule's defection case. JAM releases 2024 supplementary UTME results. FG announces boost in nation's economy. Trump attacks Biden over inflation. Mr. Ibu laid to rest in Enugu State. 2 Spanish referees dismissed from Euro 2024. Now the news in details. 2 people were confirmed dead, while 16 people reportedly survived the recent cholera outbreak in parts of Rivers State. State's Commissioner for Health, Dr. Adeze Chidima Ore, who disclosed this in a press statement she personally signed in Port Harcourt, clarified that as of the time of the address, there were no cases of cholera in the state. Ore explained that the incident in the state was recorded in 3 communities within Andoni local government area, stating that the 2 people died with symptoms suspicious of cholera. The health commissioner stated that all the cases were recorded within the past 4 weeks, while the ailment was ravaging other states of the nation, adding that 2 people tested positive for the ravaging ailment. Ore opined that currently there are no known active cases of cholera in the state, but urged residents of the state to maintain good hygiene. Cases challenging the defection of the 25 state lawmakers in the Rivers State from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress have been transferred. The case was transferred from Federal High Court 4, Port Harcourt, presided over by Justice Stephen Deliop, PAM, to court 2 controlled by Justice E.O. Obele. However, there was confusion among journalists covering the court proceedings and some of the lawyers in the matter as they got to the court on Friday to discover that the cases have been transferred to a different court. The lawyers and journalists who were stuck at court 4 could only realize that the matters have been moved when the notable senior advocate of Nigeria in the matter, who had arrived at court premises, could not be found in court 4. On approaching the court clerk after over an hour of resumption of court sitting, it was discovered that the matter was transferred Thursday to the new court. This transfer came following a petition by a defendant in matter, Honorable Martin Samehule, to the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Honorable Justice John Soho, demanding that the cases against him be transferred to another court. Analysts have maintained the Rivers State People's Democratic Party have lost its balance in the state following the lingering political feud. A socio-political analyst, Wisdom Anyabu, stated this on Atlantic Television Open Conversation.
We saw a lot of internal unpolitical activities, seed of discord in the highest level, whereby, sabotage became the order of the day. And currently, with the state of the PDP, it's now a trajectory that PDP has lost its balance. So, but when the governor...
Speaking further, Wisdom Anyabu blamed the opposition party on diversity in ideology of its members across board.
The opposite is the situation whereby people no longer join political parties based on the ideologies. Rather, people only join political parties just because they want to get to the office. And now, that has also skyrocketed the level of poor performance among those who have been elected within public offices. And take, for instance, if you look at what the government...
Recall that the Rivers State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara, has expressed his disappointment with the People's Democratic Party, stating that the party had failed him and his supporters in the state. Analysts have condemned the continuous destruction of stolen crude oil across the country. Speaking on Atlantic Television Blowout, a socio-political analyst, Stephen Okechukwu, described the massive destruction of stolen crude oil as a devastating economic leakage.
Yes. The environmental impact. And even the Navy's, the general military architecture's body language to modular refineries like this. Now, And sadly, this is not going off anytime soon.
Explaining further, Stephen Okechukwu taxed the federal government on competitiveness in crude oil production.
Feel we've not benefited so much from what we have as a people. You know, this is the outcome of that. We've had the oil sector boom since the 70s up until this moment. Let us go back to the audit. At the time we started having this oil boom, Saudi Arabia was already coming aboard. Go back to the OPEC index. We're nowhere near certain developed countries that were able to develop their countries with the same mineral resources that we're still here destroying. So
this is coming as the Nigerian Navy forward operating base in Brass local government area, Bayelsa State, uncovered and destroyed 10 illegal crude oil refineries producing approximately 100,000 liters of suspected stolen crude oil from Nimbe local government area. Imo State Police Command on Friday paraded 17 suspects in connection with various crimes, including terrorism, kidnapping, and armed robbery. Also, the killers of divisional police officer and 5 police officers were among the suspects paraded. Briefing newsmen at the command headquarters in Owerri, the police spokesman in the state, Henry Okoye, said the suspects were arrested in different parts of the state, including Nkwesi in Oguta local government area, Umugu Amuzu in Agbo Mbise local government area, and Irete in Owerri West local government area. The police recovered various exhibits from the suspects, including 2 pump-action guns, 1 single-barrel gun, 2 locally made pistols, 25 rounds of live cartridges, various denominations of Biafran currencies, 1 live tortoise and 1 live crocodile, and various criminal charms. The command's spokesperson praised the efforts of the police team and urged citizens to continue providing information to help combat crime. Anambra State Command of the Nigeria Civil and Security and Civil Defense Corps has arrested 4 suspects involved in illegal mining activities in the state. Parading the suspects on Friday in Akwa, the NSCDC commandant in the state, Olatunde Maku, said they were arrested on Thursday at Obunike in Oyi local government area. According to Maku, the arrest was in collaboration with the Federal Mines Officers of the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development in charge of Anambra. Those arrested were identified as Nnamani Chidubem, Ekemezie Ifeanyi, Okoli Patrick, and Oyedika Somto. The NSCDC commandant said that illegal mining constituted economic sabotage and posed environmental risk in the state. Also speaking, Henry Bolarinwa of the Federal Ministry of Solid Minerals Development urged miners to operate with valid licenses and at approved mining sites. Bolarinwa said that the warning was necessary to block revenue leakages and prevent environmental hazards associated with illegal mining activities. Court of Appeal Lagos Division on Friday affirmed the judgment of a Lagos State High Court which sentenced Nollywood actor Olarewaju James, popularly called Baba Ijesha, to 5 years imprisonment for sexually assaulting a 14-year-old minor. The appellate court, in its lead judgment delivered by Justice Folashade Ojo, who presided over the case, found the appellant Baba Ijesha guilty on counts 4 and 5, where he was accused of indecently touching a minor and sexually assaulting her. Other members of the panel, Justice Abdullahi Bayero and Justice Paul Bassi, assigned themselves with the lead judgment. The Lagos State government arraigned Baba Ijesha on a 6-count charge bordering on the indecent treatment of a child, sexual assault, attempted sexual assault by penetration, and sexual assault by penetration. In her judgment, the trial judge, Justice Oluwatoyin Taiwo, retired of the Ikeja Domestic Violence and Sexual Offences Court on July 14, 2022, sentenced Baba Ijesha to 5 years imprisonment over the sexual assault of a minor. The court found Baba Ijesha guilty of indecent treatment of a child and sexual assault of a minor between 2013 and 2014, which is contrary to Section 135 of Lagos State Criminal Law 2015. Abeokuta Magistrates Court on Friday remanded a 32-year Walma Ramat Abdulatif for allegedly faking her kidnap with the intention of extracting money from her husband. The defendant, whose plea was not taken by court, was arraigned on a one-count charge of self-kidnapping. The police counsel, Inspector Adekunle Opayemi, told the court that the defendant committed the offense on June 20th at about 2:42 p.m. at Elite Road in Abeokuta. According to the counsel, the defendant arranged for herself to be kidnapped in order to extort money from her husband, Mr. Ogunbumi Latif. Opayemi said that the offense committed contravenes Section 27 of the Prohibition of Forcible Occupation of Landed Properties, Armed Robbery, Kidnapping, Coercion, and other anti-violence and related offense laws of Ogun 2016. Magistrate Mrs. O.O. Odumosun ordered that the defendant be remanded in prison for 60 days pending legal advice from the Department of Director Public Prosecution. She, however, adjourned the case until September 19th for mention. Honorable Minister of FCT, Barrister Nyesom Wike, has received the prestigious Nigeria Gold Prize Award for his infrastructural resolution and exceptional leadership alongside 4 others. This was presented by Nigeria National Newspaper Public Service Awards 2024 in Abuja, going along with annual lecture projects. Wike as unprecedented in the annals of FCT administration. Our Abuja correspondent Joseph Moses Mawunyika completes the report.
This Nigeria National Newspaper has presented the Honorable Minister of FCT Barrister Nyesom Wike with an award of Gold Prize Infrastructure and Exceptional Leadership alongside 4 others. While announcing the title of the award given to Wike at the Lecture and Public Service Award 2024 in Abuja, the publisher of this Nigerian newspaper, Mr. Henry Osage, said the reason for the award was that Wike has displayed exceptional leadership role through infrastructure renewal and aggressive pursuit of development across the Federal Capital Territory.
Anybody who can see, anybody who can hear, anybody who can touch, anybody who can feel would understand why we are awarding the Minister of the FCT with Gold Prize in Infrastructure and Exceptional Leadership. I came to Abuja 2002 and I have witnessed successive ministers. Now, I can't drive anywhere without a Google map. And I'm not kidding about it. He has transformed the city. It doesn't matter whether you like him, you don't like him, you can see the job he's doing. And he's working very tirelessly. And he's the winner of our Gold Prize, Infrastructural Development, and Exceptional Leadership.
The event, which was chaired by the former head of state, General Abdisalami Abubakar, represented by General Chida Adamu, retired, has lecture delivered by Professor Mike Ezekome on 25 years of Nigeria's democracy, the challenges, prospects, and possibilities, gave the room to Wike to correct the impression of the speaker, who stated in his lecture that Nigeria's democracy has been without success and therefore needs consolidation.
But we're all sitting here without correcting some impression. First of all, we're talking about democracy for 25 years. We know have challenges. I expected the lecturer to say, yes, we have made some progress. And all this lecture, not one progress was made. Criticism. Are you telling me that for 25 years we have not made one progress? Then we can say, yes, we have made this progress, but there are still room for us to move forward. Just like Shehu Sari said, how the doctor have to meditate. Can he say under this democracy, any Nigerian have found himself in that aspect? That's the progress. It give the impression as if we have not made any progress as a country. You have said here, FCT. Who is FCT Minister working on? Who? The President. Mr. President. Which means he has the capacity to do those who can help him move the country forward. That is progress.
Receiving the award, Wuke thanks the organizers of the event for recognizing him for prestigious award.
The structure of this Nigeria who has made it possible for us to be here today for this award ceremony. We thank Almighty God for the opportunity, and we want to dedicate this award to His Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief, that will be part of this renewed hope agenda for Nigeria. Without that, it will not be possible for us to contribute our own quota. And we want to assure Nigerians to continue to have that hope that indeed Nigeria will be better under the federal administration of the Excellency Ahmed Bola Tinubu.
Joseph Moses, ATN News, Abuja.
Benue State Independent Electoral Commission has shifted the state local government election from July 6th to November 16th. Dr. John Chen, chairman of the commission, disclosed this while speaking with newsmen on Friday in Makurdi. He said the change of date was necessitated by logistical constraint, explaining that the commission needed more time to prepare and procure election materials, which he said had not yet been procured. The chairman appealed to all political parties, candidates and critical stakeholders to cooperate with the commission to enable it to conduct a free and fair election. Protesters and counter-protesters clashed on Thursday at the Independent National Electoral Commission headquarters in Abuja as tensions rose over the use of the bimodal voter accreditation system in the recent Kogi state governorship election. Concerned Kogi Citizens Forum, led by Isaiah Davis, demanded transparency in the use of beavers, alleging fraud and accusing INEC of manipulating the election results. The protesters bore placards with inscriptions such as "Judges, Beavers Matters," INEC Chairman, "Beavers must be transparent," "Restore integrity in Nigeria's elections," and "INEC stop the beavers fraud now." Meanwhile, the Election Transparency Advocacy Coalition, led by barrister Peter Ugoke, countered with a protest of their own, backing INEC and all the Progressives Congress. The counter-protesters bore placards with inscriptions such as "Let INEC breathe," "Stop blackmailing INEC," "Allow our elections to mature," and "INEC is doing well." Gombe State Ministry of Trade, Industry and Tourism has announced plans to prohibit any business activity involving tobacco products at the multi-billion naira Muhammadu Buhari Industrial Park once it becomes operational. The decision was made known during an advocacy visit by the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center to the Commissioner of the Ministry. The Ministry of Justice has also pledged to develop a legal framework to control the consumption and usage of tobacco products in the state. Both ministries stated the importance of these measures for public health and pointed out the mutual benefits that could be achieved through taxation. The permanent secretaries representing the ministries during the visit reiterated the government's commitment to creating a safe environment for the people of Gombe State. Babayo Hassan Abubakar, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Tourism, expressed optimism about the potential benefits of partnering with CISLAC, particularly for the state's youth and children, noting that CISLAC's visit served as a reminder of the ministry's regulatory role in tobacco control. Gombe State High Court has sentenced an employee of the Nigerian Immigration Service, Dabiet Gilbert, to 1 year in prison for a job scam. Gilbert was accused of defrauding Arco Acoustic of 800,000 naira with the promise of securing a job placement with the Nigerian Correctional Services. Upon arraignment by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, he pleaded guilty to the one charge of fraud preferred against him. A statement on Friday by the EFCC spokesperson, Dele Oyewale, said Gilbert pleaded guilty to his one charge, prompting prosecution counsel A.M. Labaran to pray the court to convict and sentence him accordingly. Oyewale explained that Gilbert's journey to prison began when his victim petitioned the EFCC after realizing that he had been defrauded over a non-existent Nigerian Correctional Service job, and efforts to get his money back proved abortive. 3 persons have been reported injured in a clash between farmers and herders in Kalai village near Baranda Forest in Jigawa State. According to a statement by the Police Public Relations Officer, Jigawa State Command, DSP Shisu Adam, the incident occurred when herdsmen attacked farmers and released their cattle onto farmland, leading to a confrontation. Shisu stated that the police responded swiftly to the scene, and during the intervention, 3 injured victims were identified while 6 others were rescued from potential harm. He said the injured victims received medical attention and were discharged. He added that the police had identified 2 leaders of the herders and would invite them for questioning. He further stated that an emergency security meeting with relevant stakeholders has been scheduled to address the issue and prevent further breaches of peace. The clash is believed to have been triggered by misinformation regarding the revocation of farmland allocations within the forest reserve. Academic Staff Union of Universities, University of Jos branch, has called on the federal government to urgently attend to its pressing issues to avert another strike action by academic staff in the tertiary institutions. Members of the union gave the warning during a town hall meeting held at the union secretariat in Jos to address lingering issues between the ASU and the federal government. The meeting was held in collaboration with its sister unions in the university, students' union, government, parents, trader unions, and other stakeholders to sensitize the public on government's lackluster attitude towards the union's demands. Some of the union's demands include a revisit of anti-masses policies, exiting the union from the integrated payroll and personnel information system, returning to renegotiation, and signing the Nimi-Briggs report. Others are payment of 35 months' salaries and accumulated earned allowances captured in the 2023 budget, as well as the release of revitalization funds captured in the 2023 budget, reinstatement of the Governing Council, illegally dissolved, payment of arrears of promotion and responsibility allowances, and payment of backlog of salaries to members omitted by IPPIS. Fresh attack in the Hurar Community Kowal District. Irigwe chiefdom of the Bassa local government area of Plateau State claimed 5 lives and 3 houses. The incident happened at the time residents had retired to bed, and 1 survivor is now hospitalized. National Publicity Secretary of Irigwe Development Association Sam Jugo confirmed the incident by criminal elements suspected to be Fulani herders at Roa Kal Axis, Bassa local government area. He noted the incident is heartbreaking, wicked, condemnable, unprovoked, and coming at a time that all well-meaning Rigwe natives are working tirelessly to ensure peace reigns at homes and environs. Federal High Court sitting in Kaduna has convicted and sentenced the duo of Ona Henry Chinonso, better known as Sandra Morales, and Poklong Michael Longham, better known as Robotek, to prison for internet fraud. The convicts were prosecuted by the Kaduna Zonal Command of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on separate 1-count charges bordering on criminal impersonation on social media. The duo pleaded guilty to their charges when they were read to them, prompting prosecution counsel Musa Usman Gadaka, who appeared with Maria Nasude Usman and Fatima Ustaz Usman, to urge the court to convict and sentence them accordingly. Justice R.M. Aikawa thereafter convicted and sentenced Chinonso to 5 years imprisonment or a fine of 500,000 naira, while he landed Longham 4 years imprisonment or a fine of 500,000 naira as well. Kaduna State Government, in a clear demonstration of its commitment to women's economic empowerment, has launched the domestication of the National Women's Economic Empowerment Policy. The government has also approved a substantial 4.5 billion naira as a special intervention for 15,000 households in the state. State Commissioner for Human Services and Social Development, Haji Rabi Salisu, disclosed this at a one-day citizens' engagement workshop organized by the Development Research and Projects Center to support the domestication of national policy in the state. She also disclosed that the state is determined to invest in women and girls through various interventions in economic development, education, agriculture, and entrepreneurship. While commending the Development Research and Project Center for supporting the state in domesticating the policy, she assured that Kaduna State would be a pace setter in promoting, developing and uplifting the standard of living of women in the state. Earlier, the Executive Director of the Development Research and Project Center, Dr. Judith Ann Walker, represented by the Director of Partnerships and Communications, Malam Hassan Aliyu Karofi, said the rationale behind the support to the state is to support inclusion, adding that 24 more states have been earmarked to be supported to domesticate the policy. You are watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after this break.
Corruption out in my country.
What do you want to buy?
Potato. Small baskets. I want plantain. But why your plantain can't hard like this?
Madam, now the outside hard. Inside there, it is very soft.
Madam, wallahi make her no buy them. Make her show you something. What? What's in this one? Madam, this one now the chemical what they put on for the plantain make her ripe up.
Hey? So you dey put chemical for plantain where people go chop?
No water, no be chemical.
Water. You know say Pela I don't talk and say water and not be enemy. Drink am.
Where you collect that water, drink am.
I just stop finish. See my belly. It don't big. I just stop drink water finish.
Wait, you drink am now. I dey sell am plantain I go come put am for chemical because I want to make a ripe go. That's why I talk now corruption. Corruption. Not be for this kaswa, come not be for this country. Now me take am.
Corruption out in my country.
This message is brought to you by the Akin Fadayi Foundation, the Marketer Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
Welcome back. This is the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. President Bola Tinubu has extended his condolence to traders whose shops and goods got burnt in the Karu Abuja market fire on Thursday. A statement by his special advisor to the president, media and publicity, Ajurin Gilale, on Friday, said the president received the news of the fire, which affected sections of the market, with deep sadness. On Thursday evening, a fire ripped through a swath of the market, destroying property and other valuables. The president urged caution and adherence to essential safety measures to prevent fire outbreaks and other accidents. Vice President Kashim Shettima has asked Nigerians to be fair in their assessment of President Bola Tinubu's leadership. Shettima said the president is working hard to make the country great. The Vice President stated this at a one-day town hall meeting organized by the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council held at the banquet hall of the State House in Abuja. He said the current economic challenges in the country are not the making of the president, but a global phenomenon. Describing President Tinubu as a man of ideas robustly built with leadership capacity, Shettima believes the country has never been blessed with leadership like now and urged Nigerians to support him. The Vice President condemned the situation where some Nigerians were gloating over the president's fall incident during the 2024 Democracy Day event at Eagle Square in Abuja. Speaking on PEBEC, the Vice President commended the ministers and heads of agencies for driving the 120-day regulatory reform accelerator action plan to its success. Nigerian Senate has denied approving the purchase of a new presidential jet for President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima as speculated. There were unconfirmed reports that President Tinubu was seeking the National Assembly approval of funds for the purchase of a new presidential jet. President of the Senate, Gospel Akpabio, during Thursday's emergency plenary session, clarified that there is the presence of a fifth columnist doing everything possible to destabilize the parliament. The president of the Senate said this in corroboration with observations raised by the leader of the Senate, Senator Opeyemi Bamidele, that the Senate purports to give backing towards the procurement of a new presidential aircraft.
We sat here today. A section of the social media had also been circulating that we had gone into an executive session to discuss about the presidential request for a new plane and how we are going to approve it. Mr. President, the essence of my saying this is just to make it clear and to alert Nigerians that there is the presence of a fifth columnist and some other propagandists who are doing everything possible to destabilize this country and also destabilize the parliament. Mr. President, I say for the record, as the leader of this Senate, that there is no request before this Senate as of yet. So there could not have even been a basis for us to debate whether we are going to approve or not. It had never been discussed either on the floor of this Senate or among individual senators or at the executive's closed session. There is no such request. If the request comes, it's not about Mr. President of the Senate alone. It's for 469 elected representatives of the Nigerian people to discuss and take a position. 360 in the House of Reps, 109 in the Senate.
Run the Senate by answering people in the social media, because the social media is garbage in, garbage out. I was in Zanzibar attending to Inter-Parliamentary Union meetings when that information went out that the Senate President has said he will approve a brand new plan for the President, irrespective of whether there is suffering or no suffering. There was never a time such a statement came from me, because I've never had any correspondence to approve a plan or not to approve a plan. And I did not want to answer, but they went further to generate it, and then they went wrong as if I was saying that I did not care about the Nigerian people, I did not do this. We care about the President, we care about the Nigerian people. We will approve things that will benefit the Nigerian people. We will approve things that will improve the living standard of the people. At the same time, we will also take cognizance of the duties of Mr. President. If his vehicle is bad, we will repair the vehicle. If his plane is bad, we will approve money for the repair of the plane. So that is not an issue. There is nothing before us.
House of Representatives has approved President Bola Tinubu's request to extend implementation of the capital aspect of the 2023 budget to 31st December 2024. The House also passed another executive bill to extend the 2023 supplementary budget to 31st December.
I now invite the clerk to read the short titles.
The decision of the House was reached a few minutes after the commencement of plenary on Tuesday and the introduction of the two bills by the House Leader, Honorable Julius Ihonbari. The Green Chamber dissolved into an executive session to deliberate on the request from the President to extend the lifespan of the capital component of the 2023 budget and the 2023 supplementary budget to 31st December 2024. Leading the
I invite the clerk to read the short titles.
described them as straightforward and aimed at ensuring the completion of all ongoing capital projects captured in the two documents.
This is a fairly straightforward request which entails not altering the content of the budget, but essentially the date to allow for effective implementation to the benefit of Nigeria and all Nigerians. That essentially the date be adjusted from 30th June 2024 to 31st December 2024. And like I said, this is to make life easy for everyone to complete the project, because we don't want abandoned projects. I urge my colleagues to please support this so that there will be no excuses.
Minority Leader of the House, Kingsley Chinda, argued that while it is legally okay to extend the capital component of the budget, it is morally wrong to have about 4 budgets running simultaneously.
We will not just criticize, but profile an alternative, sir. And therefore, I will suggest that the House Leader steps down this bill, and then we go back to the drawing board look at it, all the projects that are contained in 2023 budget and 2023 supplementary budget, we take them over to the 2024 supplementary budget so that we can have just 2 budgets running in the country. That way, we would have achieved everything that we intend to achieve.
Also, former Leader of House, Honorable Al-Hassan Ado Duguwa, said while the House should approve the President's request and extend the lifespan of the budget, the House needs to pass a message to the Presidency on why they should put their acts together.
You have 2 substantive budgets, 2023, being extended to 31st of December and running them concurrently. You have other supplementary budgets being carried also at the same time, Mr. Speaker. I want to say without any fear of contradiction that they may be legal, but that moral feeling, that moral responsibility, Mr. Speaker, that moral questions will always be raised. Reason why I rise to say so, Mr. Speaker, is for us as a House and an institution, while we have no cause whatsoever to stop it, I will be for it, and I will urge people to be for it. But at least at this critical moment, we must unite ourselves and we must stand collectively and send a signal to the government of the Federation that not everything could fly. When you have a budget being extended continuously, it means the government is lagging behind in the pursuance of the implementation of that bill.
At the end of the closed-door session, the Speaker, Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, appealed to members to allow the passage of the extension of the capital component to allow for procurement of items contained in it, which he said are more security-related items.
The House and Committee of Supply considered the report on the bill for an act to amend the Appropriation Act 2023 to further extend the implementation of the capital aspect of the Appropriation Act 2023 from 30 June 2024 to 31st December 2024 and for related matters. And in so doing, we have approved clauses 1 and 2, clause 3 as amended, explanatory memorandum, and the long title of the bill. The second report is a respect of the House and Committee of Supply considered the report on the bill for an act to amend the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2023 to further extend the implementation from 30 June 2024 to 31st December 2024 and for related matters. And in so doing has approved clauses 1 and 2, clause 3 as amended, explanatory memorandum, and the long title of the bill. Of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it.
Lawmakers expeditiously approved the executive bills to enable the federal government complete critical projects after consideration of the bills at the Committee on Supply chaired by Speaker Tajuddin Abbas. Adaona Ifowido reports that the passage of the 2 bills will be the 3rd time the lifespan of the capital component of the budget and the supplementary budget will be extended for implementation. The lifespan was first extended to March 31st, 2024 and later again to June 30th, 2024. House of Representatives Committee on Public Assets has suspended the allocation of plots of lands and houses of Kaduna Polytechnic to non-staff of the institution. The committee's resolution was sequel to the consideration of the petition by the serving and retired staff of Kaduna Polytechnic against the management of the school. The committee also summoned the rector of the Kaduna Polytechnic, Dr. Suleiman Umar. Also invited for the investigative hearing is a permanent secretary, Ministry of Education, and head of the Presidential Implementation Committee, as well as the Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions, and Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Polytechnics, Kaduna Polytechnic Branch. Chairman, House Committee on Public Assets, Ademorin Kuye, said the specific date, time and venue for their appearance will be communicated to them. Chairman, Military Pensions Board, Paul Irumhason, says the federal government has approved an electronic verification system for military pensioners to ensure sanity in pension administration. Irumhason stated this while addressing newsmen on the commencement of the electronic verification exercise nationwide on Friday in Abuja. He said the initiative was aimed at sanitizing military pension administration and elimination of issues of impersonation. The chairman said the board adopted an electronic verification system to reduce the risk of traveling from one place to another and the cost of transportation owing to their old age. Irumhason said the board successfully conducted a pilot test from February 15th to March 1st, adding that the only 15 of the 2,000 pensioners verified failed the process. He said the little observations notice had been used to improve on the system. According to him, the Minister of State for Defense, Dr. Bello Matawale, and the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, have approved the commencement of the verification for the esteemed pensioners. The chairman assured that the board would carry out sufficient public awareness to enable pensioners to navigate the system with ease. Supreme Court has discharged and acquitted the Nigerian Army Sergeant Akawu Bala of the death sentence imposed on him by the General Court Martial of the Nigerian Army. The respite came the way of the embattled Army Sergeant after spending 12 years in Kaduna prison, waiting for ratification of the death sentence passed on him. Delivering judgment in an appeal he launched at the Supreme Court on March 16, 2017, a 5-man panel of judges of the Supreme Court unanimously discharged him from the death penalty. Sergeant Bala was accused by the Nigerian Army of shooting Isa Mohammed on December 9, 2012, when he was attached to the African Petroleum Station at Sabon Tasha, Kaduna, with an AK-47 gun. The victim of the gunshot was said to have died on December 10, 2012 at St. Gerard's Catholic Hospital in Kaduna. Following his indictment, he was put on trial for murder, which is punishable under Section 106 of the Armed Forces Act 2014, before the General Court Martial on a 22-count, and was found guilty of murder and subsequently sentenced to death by hanging. Federal government is partnering with Vaccine Alliance Gavi for emergency vaccine donations in case of a shortage amidst an expectant surge in cholera outbreaks across the country. Chief Executive Officer of Gavi, Dr. Sania Nishta, in a post on her X handle, said the body was concerned about the cholera outbreak in Nigeria and was ready to support the country in its response. This is as the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention on Monday said it had activated the Emergency Operations Center to contain the gravity of the situation in the country. Director General of the NCDC, Dr. Jide Idris, said the EOC would serve as the nerve center for the coordination of response across the country. It would also support affected states and facilitate rapid communication, data analysis, and decision-making processes. President of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Joe Ajaero, has called for serious exploration of herbal medicine in Nigeria and its integration into the country's mainstream health system. The NLC president said this would boost access to health care and grow the nation's economy. Ajaero said this when the leadership of the NLC received the newly registered member of the Congress National Association of Herbal Medicine Employers. The newly registered union was at the NLC headquarters to formally present their certificate of registration and officially declare their affiliation with the NLC. Ajaero stressed the need for the federal government to explore herbal medicine as an alternative to the conventional. He also noted the potential of herbal medicine to generate trillions of naira for the country through exports. The NLC leader stressed the need for government to establish herbal hospitals to further legitimize traditional medicine within the country's healthcare system. He further called for ethical practices and proper research within the sector to uphold standards and ensure efficacy in treatment. Nigeria Labour Congress has declared that Nigerian workers will not be treated as beggars in the country. NLC made the remark while stressing that state governors can't decide the minimum wage of workers. A statement by its head of information and public affairs, Benson Apa, described the stance of the state governors in determining what they can pay as workers as dictatorial. NLC emphasized what the national minimum wage is not an arbitrary figure, but a collective agreement designed to ensure a minimum standard of living for every worker in the country. UPA informed the governors that the minimum wage is separate from the individual pay structures of states, which already reflect their unique financial capabilities and circumstances. Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board has announced the release of results of candidates who participated in the Supplementary Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. Recall that the examination was conducted between Friday, June 21st and Saturday, June 22nd, 2024. The board disclosed the release in a statement on Friday by its spokesman, Fabian Benjamin. The supplementary examination was conducted for 28,835 candidates who were unable to be biometrically verified during the May 2024 UTME and were therefore unable to take their examination. Similarly, the other category of candidates were those suspected to have been involved in examination malpractices during the main UTME, but who were given a second chance to sit the examination. Independent National Electoral Commission has asked political parties and other stakeholders to avert their minds to the provisions of the Electoral Act 2022 with respect to the tenure of area council chairmen in the Federal Capital Territory. According to the Commission, the Act guarantees a 4-year tenure for the chairmen and councillors, not the 3 years provided in the Electoral Act 2010. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu disclosed this at a meeting with the Inter-Party Advisory Council on Friday in Abuja. He said the tenure of the current chairman and councillors would lapse in June 2026. Yakubu said the Commission had earlier received inquiries from some law firms, an individual or political party, and one FCT chairmanship aspirant forum regarding the tenure of the area councils. He added that there was also a demand for the Commission to release the timetable and schedule of activities for the area council elections. Yakubu said their inquiries were based on the provisions of the Electoral Act 2010, which was the subsisting law at the time elections to the area council were held on Saturday, February 12, 2022. In our business news. Federal government has reported significant boost in the nation's economy, with the excess crude account standing at $473.75 million and stabilization account at over 28.73 billion naira. The government also said that the nation's natural resources fund stood over 53.89 billion naira. Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, disclosed this at the 142nd National Economic Council meeting presided over by its chairman, Vice President Kashim Shettima, in Abuja. A statement on the NEC meeting was made available to newsmen by Mr. Stanley Wokocha, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media. Wokocha said the Vice President linked the boost in Nigeria's economic outlook to the financial prudence and transparency framework adopted by President Bola Tinubu. Central Bank of Nigeria raised 284.26 billion naira from investors in its latest Nigeria Treasury bills. The auction, which took place on Wednesday, attracted a total subscription amounting to 773.98 billion naira, far surpassing the total offer of 228.72 billion naira. In the latest auction, there was an increase of 417.1% in the amount offered when compared to the 44.23 billion naira offered in the previous auction, which was held on June 13, 2024. Also, total subscriptions recorded 89.8% increase from 407.76 billion naira, while total sales rose by 414.7 billion. 414.7% from 55.23 billion naira. The auction featured 3 tenures, including 91-day, 182-day, and 364-day bills. As an instrument to implement monetary policy, the Central Bank of Nigeria can control the money supply in the economy by issuing or redeeming treasury bills. T-bills instrument provides a means for the government to raise short-term funds to finance its operations, including bridging budget deficits. Central Bank of Nigeria says it will continue to implement more policies to tackle cybersecurity challenges, foster innovation to ensure stability and integrity of the financial system. Deputy Governor, Financial System Stability at CBN, Philip Ikeazo, said this during a two-day Financial Institution Training Center FinTech conference held in Lagos. According to him, issues such as cybersecurity threats, data breaches, and digital fraud are persistent concerns that could erode consumer confidence in the system. Ikeazo said the Apex Bank, in addition to existing measures, is working on new regulations to further enhance performance and compliance. He said the new regulations would focus on two key areas: corporate governance and licensing requirements. He explained that the new regulation was aimed at improving the level of compliance and corporate governance practiced by fintechs in the country. Nigeria's external reserve reached a record high of $34.7 billion on June 26, 2024. This is according to the Central Bank of Nigeria's latest FX data on its official website. The figure represents the highest level since March 2024. Recall that last week the external reserve reached a three-month high when it rose to $33.5 billion. The development comes as the Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Olayemi Cardoso said its reforms attracted $24 billion inflow in the first quarter of 2024. Meanwhile, despite the rising FX reserves, the Naira depreciated to 1,510.10 Naira per dollar at the forex market, according to FMDQ data on Thursday. And now to international tidbits. Former United States President Donald Trump has said the policies of President Joe Biden is killing Americans. Trump said Biden has done a poor job in managing the U.S. economy, stressing that the inflation rate is disastrous. He stated this during the U.S. presidential debate hosted by CNN in Atlanta, Georgia, on Friday. The former president said the rising prices and the cost of living have become key issues ahead of November's presidential election. The U.S. Federal Reserve hiked its key lending rate from almost zero to a two-decade high of between 5.25% and 5.50%, where it has remained for the past year. Higher interest rates cool down the economy by raising borrowing costs for consumers and businesses, indirectly impacting everything from mortgage rates to auto loans. Badly wounded, Joe Biden looked to get his re-election campaign back on track after a debate performance that unnerved supporters and left allies of Donald Trump unable to conceal their glee. Democrats had hoped to see the president defiantly answering critics who say he is too old for a second term, while hammering Trump on his criminal record and the threat they say he poses to democracy. Instead, many acknowledged they got a faltering display from a candidate who sounded hoarse. For much of the showdown, stumbled over words, pulled punches, often stared open-mouthed, and looked confused. David Axelrod, a senior advisor in Barack Obama's administration, said Biden's performance had confirmed people's fears about an 81-year-old being too old for the Oval Office. The president, who had spent days in mock debate at his Camp David retreat, was scheduled to begin the cleanup Friday with his largest event of the campaign in the battleground of North Carolina. Citizens of Iran cast their votes on Friday in a presidential election marked by a lone reformist bid to break through against a divided conservative field. Around 61 million Iranians are eligible to vote in the election called after the death of ultra-conservative President Ibrahim Raisi in a helicopter crash last month. The snap election comes against a backdrop of heightened regional tensions over the Gaza war and discontent over the state of Iran's sanctions-hit economy. The leading contenders approved by the Guardian Council, which vets candidates, are Conservative Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, ultra-conservative former nuclear negotiator Saeed Jalili, and the sole reformist Masoud Pezeshkian. The only other candidate is cleric Mustafa Pohamadi, after two ultra-conservatives, Tehran Mayor Ali Reza Zakani and Raisi's former vice president Amir Hossein Ghazizadeh Hashemi, dropped out on the eve of the election. Voting was underway at 58,640 polling stations across the country, mostly in schools and mosques. European Union on Friday imposed asset freezes and visa bans on several firms and individuals accused of being financiers of Palestinian militant Islamic group Hamas, Brussels said. The sanctions were the second round to be imposed by the EU on the Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad groups after they attacked Israel on October 7. Overall, the bloc has so far blacklisted 12 individuals and 3 entities linked to the militants. Among the latest targets were 3 front companies used by key financier Hamza Abdelbasit to funnel funds to the group. These include Spanish real estate firm Al Zawaya Group and 2 others based in Sudan. Also hit was the head of Hamas foreign investment activities, a money changer enabling transfers from Bakr Ivan, and the official in charge of the group's Charitable Institutions Association. The EU said in addition it was imposing sanctions on Ali Moshed Shirazi, a senior Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps official overseeing Tehran's links to Palestinian groups from Lebanon. Now to entertainment. Burial of Nollywood actor John Okafor, popularly known as Mr. Ibu, has commenced in his hometown of Amuri Nkanu, West Local Government Area of Enugu State. The actor passed away in March 2024 in Lagos due to cardiac arrest following complications from the amputation of one of his legs. John Okafor, born and raised in Enugu, first gained widespread recognition in 2004 with the film Mr. Ibu, which also starred the late Ita Iheme. Over his prolific career, he appeared in more than 200 Nollywood films, becoming a household name with his hits such as Mr. Ibu, Mr. Ibu Hani's Sons, Coffin Producers, Husband Suppliers, International Players, Mr. Ibu in London, and Police Recruit. A graduate of the Institute of Management and Technology in Enugu State, the actor's comedic talent and unique style endeared him to millions of fans, both in Nigeria and internationally. He passed away at the age of 62, leaving behind a legacy of laughter and memorable performances. Veteran Nollywood actress Ejike Asiegbu has tendered an apology to Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma for calling him out on the internet. Recall that actress Uche Nana Maduka had in a video on social media criticized Governor Uzodinma over a power outage at the Sam Mbakwe International Cargo Airport in Imo. Other actors spotted in the video are Ejike Asiegbu, Fred Amata, Gloria Norbert Young, Grace Ama, and Kepi Ikpeyong. Reacting to the clip, the governor's chief press secretary, Oguike Nwachukwu, authored a newspaper article where he accused Nana Maduka of being hired to do so. In response, actor Asiegbu, in a viral statement, tendered an apology on behalf of his colleagues as he tagged Nwachukwu's remarks as uncharitable and unprofessional conduct. Popular singer Davido, born in Atlanta, Georgia, has expressed his opinion about the 2024 United States presidential debate, calling it the worst ever. He made his thoughts known via his X handle. The debate between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party candidates, President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump, on Thursday night was marked by personal attacks. The two will face off in the upcoming elections on November 5th, which will be the first rematch election in nearly 70 years. And that's the sports news. Mexican professional boxer Canelo Alvarez has explained why he apologized to Lionel Messi after the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Alvarez had an outburst on social media with Messi after accusing the Inter Miami captain of disrespecting the Mexican national flag following Argentina's World Cup 2-0 win over Mexico. But he later apologized to Messi, who was seen kicking a Mexico jersey in the dressing room after the game for his comments. However, Alvarez has now explained in detail why he decided to apologize to the former Barcelona captain as he accepted his mistake yet again. UEFA has dismissed 2 Spanish referees, Alejandro Hernandez and Jesus Gil Manzano, from officiating at Euro 2024 after receiving complaints about the performance. Hernandez, who served as the VAR official, faced criticism for dismissing Scotland's penalty claim in their 1-0 loss to Hungary last Sunday. Manzano was under fire for his error during France's 1-0 victory over Austria. Along the 2 referees, their assistants Diego Barbero Sevilla and Angel Nevado Rodriguez have also been sent home. This decision leaves Martinez Monera, a VAR official, as the only Spanish representative for the remainder of the tournament. Former La Liga referee Itularao Gonzalez has called on the Spanish Football Federation to improve relations with UEFA following the dismissal of 4 out of 5 Spanish officials after the group stage. In related news, Argentine referee Facundo Tello, who dismissed Scotland's penalty protest against Hungary, has been named the 4th official for Italy's last 16 tie against Switzerland on Saturday, despite earlier reports suggesting he had been dropped by UEFA. Novak Djokovic will play at Wimbledon after being named in the draw on Friday, despite concerns over his fitness following his withdrawal from the French Open. The 7-time champion at the All England club was forced to pull out ahead of his quarterfinal at Roland Garros against Casper Ruud after tearing the medical meniscus in his right knee. The 37-year-old Serbian world number 2 said earlier this week he would only play at Wimbledon if he was fit enough to fight for the title. Djokovic, who has won 24 Grand Slams, has reached the Wimbledon final for the past 5 years, losing a thrilling 5-setter last year to Carlos Alcaraz. He will attempt to win an elusive Olympic gold medal at the Paris Games, which starts on July 26th. And that's the global news for tonight. Before we go, another look at the major stories. 2 die in Rivers cholera outbreak. CJ transfers Amehule's defection case. JAMB releases 2024 supplementary UTME results. FG announces boost in nation's economy. Trump attacks Biden over inflation. Misaibu later rests in Enugu State. 2 Spanish referees dismissed from Euro 2024. I am Valentina Lawrence. Thank you for watching. You can follow us on all our social media platforms: X, formerly Twitter, Atlantic TV Net, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, or you can watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv, or download our app on Play Store, ATN Live. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely night.